Hey legends, welcome along to Sceammeupbotty. Before we get going with this podcast, I would like to ask you, if you get a moment, check out the website coinsagemedia.com. You'll get links to absolutely everything we're doing over there. Other than these podcasts, there's a couple of YouTube channels and whatnot, some short film stuff, a lot of indie content made on a zero budget. So yeah, if you get a moment and you fancy helping me out, go over and check that there out and see what you think. Right, we're getting into Star Trek the original series one more time with the episode Arena. Great episode that a lot of people have seen clips of over the years. This is the episode that, if you ever watched Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, they're sitting on their flat at one point and they're watching an episode of Star Trek on TV, and you see Captain Kirk running up what I refer to as Star Trek Mountain, because this mountain, this setting pops up in countless episodes of Star Trek right across the original series, Next Generation and whatnot. You'll see this same place popping up. The final fight of this episode takes place on Star Trek Mountain, a place I hope to visit one day, and that'll be worth checking out if it ever happens. It'll be over on the Here's Rodder's Vlogs YouTube channel. That's on the website as well, so please, again, go and check it out. So, in Arena, great episode. The Enterprise is on an hour little mission, and they go to a colony that Starfleet has. They send down a Latin party of Spock, Dr. McCoy, and a couple other officers, 3 other officers along with Captain Kirk. An observation post on Cestus Free. It's an invitation they got from its commander, Travers, who received quite a reputation for setting a fine table with his head chef and whatnot. So McCoy and Kirk in particular, are looking forward to getting down there and checking out some fine cuisine instead of just like the reconstituted stuff that they get on the Enterprise. When the away teams arrive, they discover the invitation itself was a fake, and the colony has been destroyed. It's in absolute pieces. So after they take cover, Kirk declares full alert, and they discover a single survivor in the ruins, Lieutenant Harold. Spock quickly locates the presence of other life forms nearby, but no other human survivors. The tricorder reads them as cold-blooded creatures, but definitely not human. One of the Starfleet officers attempts to scout them out, but he's immediately disintegrated by some sort of weapon, and the land party starts to get bombarded by this attack of shells coming down. At the same time, up in space, the Enterprise comes under attack by an unidentified starship. With the deflector screens up, the Enterprise can't beam the Latin party back, so Kirk orders Lieutenant Sulu to return fire with the phaser banks. It has little effect on the alien ship. It has the screens up as well, or its shields up as well, and Kirk orders the use of photon torpedoes, but they're ineffective as well. The alien too far away for even visual contact at this point, so Kirk orders Sulu to take whatever action necessary to protect the Enterprise. Leave in orbit, engage in maximum warp. Sulu opts for the former, takes the ship away from Cestus Free. Kirk orders him at the last, like, get the ship out of orbit, do what you have to do to protect it. Kirk tries to make his way to the colony's arsenal, avoiding blasts by these attackers. Eventually manages to retrieve a grenade launcher, as Spock get to him. I lost my place again. Spock reports that the enemy troops are moving towards the location. two of the other officers, one of them ends up getting killed. He gives Kirk his best guess as to where these attackers might have moved, and Kirk launches a grenade in their direction. It proves successful. The aliens begin to beam back to their vessel, allowing Sulu to return the Enterprise, get the land party back on board, and they quickly set off in pursuit of the attacking ship. Down in the sick bay, this survivor from the outpost tells Kirk and Spock of what happened when the colony was attacked. The aliens had knocked out their phasers with the first salvo, leaving the colony defenceless. Confirms Kirk's earlier theory that the aliens had faked the message from the colony, diverting Enterprise to the colony and attempt to destroy the Enterprise. That's the only Federation vessel that's really protecting everything in this quadrant at this point. Kirk reckons this move could be the start of an invasion, and suggests the correct course is to destroy the enemy before it can return to its home base and report on what happened. So Kirk orders the ship to battle stations and to warp 6 to overtake the aliens. And he's on the comm to the whole ship. He's like, this is red alert, this is not a drill. So they are in pursuit. The aliens, aware of the Enterprise, jump to warp 6 as well. Kirk orders warp 7, drawing concern from Spock and Scotty that, keeping the ship going at this speed would be hazardous to the Enterprise's warp engines. She can't take it, Captain. She's going to explode. She can't take much more. That's probably the worst Scotty you're ever going to hear in your lifetime. Spock argues against destroying the enemy ship on the basis of respect for sentient life. Kirk disagrees. His opinion is that the crime's been committed and they must be punished. Sulu reports that the aliens have moved to warp 7 as well. Kirk eventually goes to warp 8 and tells everybody to have all weapons and departments of the battle ready. As they're closing in, the Enterprise records a scanning beam from an uncharted solar system. The alien is not approaching this system. It appears to be a third party, curious about what's going on. The alien ship abruptly begins to slow and then stops dead. And Kirk closes in for the kill, but the Enterprise is soon slowed down and stopped as well. So both ships, the Enterprise and this alien vessel, are stuck in space now with all power to the engines and weapons just simply cut off. There's nothing wrong with their equipment. Apparently it's all working fine. They can't find any faults anywhere along the line, but just nothing is working. And throughout the episode on the Enterprise, Scotty and Spock suggests this and that. Scotty says, I've already tried that. It's not going to help. The aliens that reveal themselves as Metrons, an advanced race who regard intrusion into their space for anybody coming in there for the purpose of fighting, conflict and whatnot. That's completely unacceptable. So they remove Kirk from the Enterprise along with the Gorn captain from the alien vessel. They're known as Gorns. Despite both of them on a suitably prepared world, from there the two captains will settle their differences using strength and ingenuity and the most basic of weapons. They're told everything's there that you need to build your own weapons to fight. The winner and his ship will be free to go, and the loser and his ship will be destroyed. So the Gorn captain is reptilian, huge guy, reptile head on him. All fairness, the effect of the reptile head isn't what you would call completely convincing. He's very slow compared to Kirk. However, he makes up for this by just strength. He's just the Hulk, essentially. Kirk is able to evade him quite easily, but he knows he can't do it indefinitely, so he'll have to find a way to defeat his opponent with something else. The key may lie in a comment that Metron made that the prepared environment contains elements, again, I've already said that, suitable for making weapons. Yeah, so Kirk narrowly evading death at the Gorn's claws. We cut back up the Enterprise. Crew can't restore power to the engines. The weapons remain immobilized. The Metrons re-establish communications and inform the crew that Kirk is losing his battle at this point. In view of his impending death, they allow the crew to watch what is happening on the view screen. Kirk, at one point, you think he's got this Gorn. He actually runs to the top of Star Trek Mountain, the same part that in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey they get thrown off the top of, and he actually drops a huge boulder in this Gorn captain, thinking he has him killed. He runs to the bottom of the mountain to check it out, and the guy just gets up and comes after him again. Finally, after cat and mouse game, the Gorn finally communicates, and it proposes that Kirk cease trying to get away from him, and he promises in exchange to be merciful and give him a quick death. Kirk compares this offer to the succeeded supposed mercy that was shown on the humans in Cestus Free. Kirk's out for blood in this episode for most of it. This enrages the Gorn, who tells Kirk his people regard Cestus Free as part of their territory in space. And from his perspective, they were repelling an invading force. So we start to find out that, it's 6 of one and a half dozen of the other. As far as Kirk is concerned, the Gorn just jumped on top of this colony, killed everyone, but from the Gorn's perspective, this is our space, this is our planet. They had no right to be there, so we were just looking after our own interests. So they're on the same level, in a way. So back in the Enterprise, the crew's watching for the bridge. The Metrons are beaming the image to the Enterprise. McCoy says perhaps it was the humans who were in the wrong. They hear all this from the Gorn. Spock agrees that it is possible. Back on the planet, as the conflict continues, Kirk remembers an old formula for gunpowder using sulfur, coal, potassium nitrate, diamonds, and this plant of bamboo. Kirk constructs a makeshift cannon. Spock's on the Enterprise, of course. He's impressed by the captain's ingenuity, and Kirk might be successful if he can complete construction of the cannon before the Gorn closes in for the kill. So moments from a fatal attack, Kirk rips up his own uniform to make a fuse and uses the metallic recording translating device provided by the Metrons to spark the coal, allowing Kirk to, set off this device which incapacitates the Gorn. Doesn't kill him, but leaves him in a state where Kirk could quite easily take him out. So Kirk lifts. The Gorn made this rudimentary, I was going to say sword, but it's not that big. This rudimentary knife, he carved it down. He drops that at the side. Kirk lifts that and he's about to go for the kill shot. And he stops before he does it. And he yells out to the unseen Metrons that he won't kill the Gorn, and that they'll have to find their entertainment elsewhere. Suddenly, the Gorn disappears, and one of the Metron people appears, expressing surprise. The analysis they did of both races, the humans and the Gorn, didn't prepare them for Kirk's demonstration of mercy towards the opponent. The Metron claims to be 1,500 Earth years old and informs Kirk that the Gorn has been returned to his ship. If you want, we will destroy him for you if Kirk chooses to do so. Kirk declines and claims that the Federation and the Gorn can talk their dispute over and perhaps maybe reach an agreement. This impresses the Metron as well and theorizes that although humanity is still half savage, perhaps in several thousand years it'll be civilized enough to be of further interest to the Metrons. So Kirk's returned back to the Enterprise, where he discovers that the ship has been relocated 500 parsecs away from the Metron solar system. So, so the Metrons are just like, you're not coming into our space to fight. Put them to this test. Kirk impresses them, they send them back to the ship, and then actually transport the ship out of their space once again. So, Kirk orders Enterprise back to the colony, and we're led to believe that there's going to be a chat between humans and the Gorn from this point on. So they're talking over the incident on the bridge, and the Metrons, and Spock tells Kirk that it was cut off before we could see what was happening to a certain extent on the surface. But whenever Kirk refused to kill the Gorn, the transmission ended before the Metron appeared to Kirk. So Kirk tells Spock that we're a most promising species, Mr. Spock, as far as predators go. And when Spock asks what happened after he fired off the cannon, Spock remarks that he frequently had his doubts about humans being a most promising species. But Kirk says, maybe in 1,000 years or so, humanity will be able to prove it to the Metrons. 1,000 years? Spock inquires. And Kirk's like, well, it gives us a little time. So we close out the episode there. This is absolutely fantastic. There's tons of episodes in this series that are, frankly, they're just iconic episodes, and this was one of them. Right off the makeup of the Gorn and the reptile head doesn't age well, but it's Star Trek. It's what Star Trek is good at doing is when you first see this thing, you think to yourself, oh, that's clearly a mask. And of course it is. But what these episodes and what this series was always fantastic it was doing was just letting you check out of reality for 45 minutes to an hour, whatever the run time of an episode would be, and just let you forget your troubles for a bit and get into this fantasy world where anything's possible and where good wins out in the end and teaches you a lesson worth learning. And you definitely do get one at the end of this episode, with Kirk picking mercy over anger and impressing what is essentially a godlike species. They're beyond anything that humans could be at this point. It's good stuff. Absolutely love the original series of Star Trek, and I'm dying to get into later episodes because there is quite a few here that I haven't seen in, probably 20 years at this point. But, I grew up with this stuff, so I have seen each and every episode at one point or another. But, after a certain amount of time, even episodes you've watched 2 or 3 times can kind of disappear from your mind slightly. And I'm just looking forward to get into it. And actually getting to the end of the original series, because I do have the Star Trek, the animated series here as well, which was essentially a season 4 to Star Trek. And that is one that I can quite confidently say I can't recall most episodes on it. I don't think I've seen it 100% from beginning to end, but I have seen bits and pieces of it, and it is good, so I'm dying to get into that series as well. So that's going to do it for Sceam Me Up Botty for tonight. Come back for the next episode, which will be Picard Season 2, and then we're doing Discovery Season 1 at this stage as well. So we're skipping between new Star Trek and old Star Trek at this point. 3 nights a week, Tuesdays, Fridays and Saturdays for Sceam Me Up Botty. If you're interested in horror, we've got Hellmouth Hotline that goes out on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. So between those 2 podcasts, 6 episodes a week, so you're more than welcome to check them out. Please rate and review this one, share it along on social media, try and get it out there, help me grow this show. I can't do it without the help of anybody that's interested in listening to this stuff. So until the next episode, guys, whatever you're doing, stay safe, and I'll talk to you all then. This has been a production of Coins Age Media. Thank you so much for listening.